the best part of the show always when we discuss the San Francisco 49ers and Brock Purdy. He sat down with Yahoo to discuss his return timeline.
Did you say Brock Turdy? Is that what you just said?
I said Brock Purdy. Did I say? I don't think
like
so.
Turdy, at least came in my ear. Is that what you heard, Will?
I think you called him Brock Turdy.
No, I don't think so.
Did you say a new nickname for Brock? Is that what you're calling him, Brock Turdy now?
Oh no!
Rock? You called him Rock Turdy? That's disgusting.
I could tell you have a young son there, Will Brinson.
Yes.
All right, Brock.
Punched me in the nuts 42 times this past weekend, so that was exciting.
Wow, maybe that's why your hair looks like that.
Checks out.
Yeah, checks out. Okay, anyways, Brock Purdy sat down with Yahoo to discuss his return timeline. When asked if he will play at one point, he said, not really sure. So obviously, there's always questions around the quarterbacks with the 49ers. We got Brock Purdy. You have Trey Lance. Now we don't know if Brock Purdy is going to return. I don't know what else he could have said because there's so many things going into it. You got Trey Lance, who is the number 3 pick overall a couple years ago. He's returning, getting back to his form. And then you got Brock Purdy. Then now we have Sam Darnold as well. So if you look at the San Francisco 49ers futures, they haven't really changed. Niners are second on the odds board to win the Super Bowl, plus 700. They're the favorite to take the NFC at plus 320, minus 150 to take the NFC West again. Tied for the highest win total at 11.5. Brady, do you think that this affects the odds for the 49ers? I mean, I know that you're not super high on Brock Purdy already. Do you prefer Trey Lance? Do you think the Niners have the
let me put it this way, all right? You're misquoting this. Brock Purdy started how many games in his career? Like, all I'm saying is, can you
pump the brakes?
Like, let him play more. Let him continue to develop. Let defenses see him and then adjust to what he does or doesn't do well, right? That's all I'm saying, all right? Let's calm down the fandom, the bias, and let's set it aside, and let's analyze this, okay? It's not that I'm not a fan of him. I got a chance to follow him in college football for a long period of time. He was a great leader, did a lot of things well, and really, I think, helped raise the level of play of the guys around him. But he's on a really, really talented team. Like we're talking about Hurts earlier, who might be on the most talented roster or one of the most talented. San Francisco is right there sitting behind them then. So it's a little easier for a quarterback to operate when you've got a number 1 defense, a lot of all pros around you, and you've got one of the best player calls in Kyle Shanahan. So let's pump the brakes. And then the other thing is, Trey Lance, you gave up so much for him.
I know.
If Brock Purdy's admitting right now that he might not be healthy for the beginning of the season, may miss the entire season, he's obviously only saying what like anyone would say at this point. It's too early to know where he's at in his rehab and his progress. So we have to look at this season and say, if he's not ready by the beginning of training camp, Trey Lance has to be the guy. And you basically brought in Sam Darnold as insurance, a guy who's been successful, at least, or I should say, has experience, and he could be successful in Kyle Shanahan's system because he can make a stud out of most guys. And obviously, Sam Darnold does have talent and ability. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been drafted where he was drafted, and he wouldn't have been sought after by Carolina, and now obviously San Francisco. So, this is a team that I think it probably will be Lance because of the rehab and how long it's going to take Brock to get back. And then it's going to come down to if Lance is healthy, how's he playing, whether or not Brock then gets that next shot when he is healthy and ready to be back. But it's definitely something to monitor. And I think I'd be concerned as a San Francisco 49er fan, especially if you're a Brock Purdy fan. If you think he is indeed the best guy, you should be concerned if he's already admitting right now in April that he might miss the entirety of the season, or that's even in play at this point in time.
Yeah. I mean, when he got hurt, the injury was thought to be a possible
Tommy John surgery. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's just it could be season ending. I think we got the odds for Pro Football Championship winner of the Super Bowl. You can't put the Super Bowl on the top header, but don't worry about the bottom, the next one. Super Bowl 58 2024 winner. It's just a situation where, like, to me, it's crazy that San Francisco is 7-1 and the second highest favorite, given just the uncertainties at that position.
I agree. And I think as a 49ers fan and as a Brock Purdy fan, I am definitely concerned about this, but there is still hope that he could be playing week 1. I know that he's saying he's not sure, but to your point, Brady, I don't know what else he could say at this point. He obviously has to heal. And then there's the other quarterbacks that are swirling around. So I think he said what he had to say. I mean, he said he's hopeful to come back. He's ready to start throwing again, but it's hard to say. But I do think that 7-1 to win the Super Bowl, not knowing who the quarterback is, and to win the NFC is probably, I don't think, even as a 49ers fan, I know that I'm a homer, not maybe as much as Billy is. I don't know that I would take, those bets. Yeah.
I mean, if Trey Lance comes out and looks like an MVP caliber player, which is asking a lot out of him, even though we don't know what he could be, like they're still not going to dip that far below 7-1. I mean, like, it's outrageous.
Well, and the other thing is, like, look at who they're up against as far as those odds. Obviously, Kansas City's ahead of them. I think you'd say, look, between the question mark at the quarterback spot for San Francisco and the Kansas City Chiefs led by Mahomes, you'd probably side on Mahomes being a safer bet at this point. You could probably do the same thing with Buffalo, maybe the same thing with Philly, given, again, not the same concerns that you've got in San Francisco. So I'm not trying to be a downer on 49ers fans. I think Kyle Shanahan does as much as anyone to raise the level of play of whoever's playing quarterback. But that's a big question mark when you're talking about, arguably, as we just debated about for about 20 minutes, what 3 of the top 4 quarterbacks in the league that you're looking at the odds of going up against, and they play the biggest factor on it. So, look, and by the way, as far as Purdy goes and what he said, even if that's like a possibility, I don't know that you need to like throw that out there. Like, hey, I might miss the entire 2023 season, unless you're kind of building things back up to be this like heroic return, like. Kind of, I'm trying to think of who, like LeBron, for example, the ankle injury that no one besides him, based on what everyone had said, all the medical doctors, could come back and heal as fast as he did to make it in time to come back to the end of the season and now the playoffs for the Lakers. So maybe that's what he's setting him up for. This like really special superpower, healing power that he has to come back and be the guy.
A 49ers fan would eat that up with a spoon.
And by the way, the odds you're seeing with Philadelphia and San Francisco are not even about like Jalen Hurts being wherever BBT thinks he is in the quarterback pantheon, or even the 49ers. Like people are like, oh, they got an incredible roster. Trey Lance is great. It's almost strictly about the fact that the NFC is so watered down right now, the way that we perceive it generally, that there's like 2 good teams or 2 really good rosters, and then it's like the Lions. Okay.
Yeah.
And so like that's a large part of what's factoring into these championship odds.
I feel like the books are factoring in like Purdy is going to start with these odds, because if it's Trey Lance, you have to think that you're going to take a step back a little bit.
No. If Trey Lance were out for the season with UCL surgery and Brock Purdy was the week 1 starter and coming off an injury that he suffered in the second week of the season, the Niners would be like 10-1. I think this is factoring in Trey Lance making a leap in Kyle Shanahan's system and a really bad NFC, personally. I mean, look, the Rams just traded Allen Robinson. The Cardinals might be tanking. And the Seahawks are, hitching their wagon to the Geno, or they're hitching their whatever. Geno Smith is
wagon to Geno Smith. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I was going to call him the Geno wagon, but they hitched their wagon to the G. You can't hitch one wagon to another wagon and expect to have.
Technically, you could say just hitch it to the G wagon. That is an actual call.
Yeah.
Is that can I say that? Oh, you mean like the nice Mercedes cars?
Yes.
Yes. Well, on that note, we're going to take a quick break. G-Wagon was one of my. I don't think they make G-Wagons anymore, do they?
Yeah. They've only gotten more expensive. They actually come out with an electric one, which everyone is, by the way. Not that it's profitable or anything like that, but we're all coming out with the EVs.